The restaurant was silent, forks froze mid-air, conversations died instantly. Every eye in the room locked onto the single dad waiter standing over the table of the most powerful woman in the city. His hands trembled, the deep red wine spreading across her flawless white dress like a scar. He whispered, "I'm so sorry," already bracing for the end of his job. But then, the billionaire CEO lifted her eyes, and her next words shocked everyone in the room. Ethan Ross had never meant to work at that restaurant. Once upon a time, he was studying to become an architect, drawing buildings on napkins, dreaming of giving his son a better life. But life had a way of knocking him down. His wife, Emily, passed away after a long illness, leaving him alone with 5-year-old Oliver. Bills piled up, dreams were shelved, and Ethan traded drafting tables for serving trays. The upscale restaurant was his only chance to keep Oliver's school fees paid. Every shift, he plastered on a smile, balancing heavy plates while praying no one noticed the exhaustion in his eyes. Tonight, however, exhaustion betrayed him. The restaurant buzzed with energy, the kind of place where laughter was rehearsed, and fortunes were negotiated over caviar. Then came her. Amelia Sinclair, the billionaire CEO whose name commanded respect and fear in equal measure. Known for transforming small companies into empires, she had a reputation colder than the steel heels she walked in. Her presence in the restaurant sent whispers rippling across the room. Ethan tried to steady himself as he approached her table with a bottle of their most expensive Bordeaux. His palms were sweaty, his heart raced. Oliver had a school trip tomorrow, and Ethan promised he'd pay for it with tonight's tips. Just one more night without mistakes. But fate had other plans. As he leaned in to pour, his hand slipped. A cascade of deep red wine splashed across Amelia's white silk dress. Gasps echoed like gunfire. Ethan froze, his world collapsing in an instant. He saw the manager's furious face, the diner's mocking stares, the shame in his reflection. I'm so sorry, ma'am," Ethan stammered, voice shaking. "It was an accident. I'll fix this." Everyone waited for the explosion. Billionaires like Amelia Sinclair didn't forgive mistakes. They crushed them. Ethan braced for the words that would end his job. But Amelia looked up, calm and unreadable. She studied his trembling hands, his pale face, and then said softly, so softly that the entire room strained to hear. "Tell me, why are your hands shaking like that?" The room went still. Nobody expected that. Not a scream, not anger, but a question. Ethan swallowed hard. His lips trembled. "Because this job is all I have, because I can't afford to lose it." Her eyes lingered on him, something flickering beneath her cool facade. And then, with the weight of the entire restaurant watching, Amelia Sinclair gave the last. He only went into the woods that night to collect firewood for his little daughter. He never expected to hear muffled screams, desperate, raw, and fading beneath the soil. When he dug with his bare hands, his heart racing against the clock, he had no idea that the woman buried alive was a millionaire, and that her whispered words would change both of their lives forever. The town of Maple Hollow was small, the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, or thought they did. For Daniel Cole, life had narrowed down to one purpose, raising his 6-year-old daughter, Emma. He wasn't a man of wealth or influence. He was a construction worker, sometimes a carpenter, sometimes a handyman, whatever put food on the table. Since his wife's passing 2 years ago, he carried the quiet weight of both father and mother on his shoulders. That evening, the autumn wind was sharp, and Daniel walked deeper into the forest behind their old cabin. Emma was sick with the flu, curled up in bed with flushed cheeks, and he wanted to keep the fireplace alive through the night. The world had taken so much from him already, he wasn't going to let cold steal from his little girl too. But then, a sound froze him mid-step. It wasn't an animal's cry. It wasn't the rustle of branches. It was a muffled scream, choked and strangled, followed by frantic thuds against the earth. His instincts sharpened. He dropped the bundle of wood and rushed toward the sound. The ground looked disturbed, fresh soil unevenly spread as if something, or someone, was beneath it. "Help," a faint voice gasped. Daniel's blood ran cold. He clawed at the dirt with his bare hands, ignoring the sting of rocks slicing his palms. He dug until his nails cracked, his breath short, his muscles screaming, but he didn't stop. Finally, his fingers brushed against skin, a trembling, delicate hand reaching toward him like a final prayer. With a roar of desperation, Daniel dug faster, pulling and tearing until he unearthed the form of a woman, her face pale, lips trembling, hair tangled with mud. She coughed violently, gasping air like it was the first breath of her life. Daniel lifted her from the earth, cradling her like a child, his chest heaving. "Why you saved me," she whispered, her voice broken and raw. Daniel looked into her eyes, but he didn't know then that he wasn't just saving a stranger. He was saving a millionaire, a woman whose story would twist into his in ways he couldn't yet imagine. Her name was Isabella Hartley, and someone had tried to bury her alive.